Hope you had an absolutely positively wonderful week. And this is Stephen A. Smith coming at you with the Stephen A. Smith Show over the airwaves of SiriusXM, Mad Dog Sports Radio, every weekday from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Number to call up as always is 888 Mad Dog 6. That's 888 Mad Dog 6. That's 888-623-3646. And if you want to leave your voicemail messages, you can always reach out at SiriusXM.com/GetSerious. That's SiriusXM.com/GetSerious, and I'll get your recorded voicemail messages that you leave for me. We got a lot of stuff to get into today. The one and only Alex Rodriguez is coming on at the top of the 2 o'clock hour to talk about his new docuseries that everybody is talking about on HBO. So I'm looking forward to talking to my man A-Rod about that. Make no mistake. But there's a lot of stuff to get into primarily about the football season because, boy, did we have an NFL weekend to remember. You saw the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Indianapolis Colts. You saw the Baltimore Ravens 1-5 weeks ago, now having won 5 straight and now sit atop the AFC North along with the Pittsburgh Steelers and are in the hunt for a playoff berth. We saw the Los Angeles Rams, without question, looking like the best team in football right now, courtesy of Matthew Stafford, beating up on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last night. We've got a Monday Night Football game coming up where the Carolina Panthers are visiting the San Francisco 49ers, and they're in position to actually lead the AFC South with a win tonight, believe it or not, in San Fran. Or Santa Clara to be exact. So that's something to get into. And all of that. Oh, you saw, of course, let me not forget Shedeur Sanders showing up in Vegas with his daddy in attendance and balling out well enough to propel the Cleveland Browns over the Las Vegas Raiders. And, oh, by the way, in the process, Myles Garrett is just putting everybody on notice that he's unquestionably the best defensive player in football, a monster if there ever was one on the football field, and what level of comparisons he warrants to Aaron Donald or various others throughout the years, because Myles Garrett simply is that dude. He is something special. 18 sacks on the season, 14 sacks over the last 5 games. Only player in the National Football League with 3 or more games with at least 3 sacks in a game. Unbelievable what he is doing. Make no mistake. But the story, the lead story, are the Dallas Cowboys. And the fact that the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, played like America's team last night. My man T-Love, I have no doubt one of my favorite callers, will be on the line with us in a little while because he's got some explaining to do, sticking out his chest, bloviating, huffing and puffing, acting like it was going to blow somebody's house down. And sure enough, he's got a mea culpa because the Philadelphia Eagles, the reigning, defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, went into Dallas, went up 7-0, courtesy of a touchdown to A.J. Brown. Went up 14-0. Courtesy of a touchdown by Jalen Hurts. Went up 21-0. And then collapsed. And the Dallas Cowboys came back from a 21-0 deficit. They were up 21-0. And they blew it. They got shut down. 5 punts, a turnover, going over, getting taken down on downs. Philadelphia Eagles gave up 24 unanswered points. Dak Prescott throwing for over 300 yards. CeeDee Lamb catching a 48-yard bomb. George Pickens looking like an all-world receiver. And the Philadelphia Eagles seemed ill-equipped to do a damn thing about it. As a result, the Dallas Cowboys walked away with a 24-21 come-from-behind victory, courtesy of an Aubrey field goal at the end. Brandon Aubrey's 42-yard field goal as time expired. Dak Prescott, to be specific, 354 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, ran for a tying score. And the Eagles' defense gave up 473 yards of offense to the Dallas Cowboys. A season high. 86 more yards than their previous season worst. Now, this is the same Eagles defense that gave up a total of 16 points in its 2 previous games. But that was not to be the case for Vic Fangio's defense yesterday afternoon. They got beat up. George Pickens caught all 9 of his targets for 46 yards, and a touchdowns. Both of his targets for 52 yards came against Cooper DeJean, the most DeJean has allowed to a single receiver in any game of his career. Now Pickens ranks as the second leading receiver in the National Football League behind Jackson Smith and Jigba with 1,054 receiving yards, 8 touchdown catches, ranking 3rd in the league, by the way. I picked the Cowboys to win this game. Y'all remember last week when T. Love was one of the callers calling up thinking I needed to be drug tested. I picked the Dallas Cowboys to win this game. And one of the things that I said was this could end up being the best thing that happened to the Eagles. Because what we've learned now is how predictable, how pedestrian the Eagles offense is. They don't really do anything to fool you. There's very, very little movement. There's too much one-on-one. And when it really, really mattered, over the last 2 quarters, 11 minutes and 30 seconds, the Philadelphia Eagles offense did nothing. Absolutely not. Not a damn point. They didn't score a damn point. And that's what you got to look at here. Jalen Hurts season high 39 pass attempts. Complete 69% completion, 289 yards passing, a TD, a sack, no turnovers. Ran for 33 yards and 2 touchdowns, by the way. But here's what you need to know. For the Philadelphia Eagles, their first 3 drives of the game, 187 yards, 12 first downs. Final 8 drives, 0 points, 7 first downs, 5 punts, 1 fumble, 1 missed field goal, and only 3 plays run in Dallas territory. I mean, you can't make this up. And A.J. Brown, I don't know how much he could complain about. He's been targeted 21 times over the last 2 games, caught 15 catches. It was his most productive 2-game stretch of this season, and they still lost. Now, the Eagles are 23-3 when he has at least 1 touchdown catch, including the postseason. One of them was not yesterday. You got some self-inflicted errors by the Cowboys. We all saw Dak Prescott throw his interception in the red zone. We saw that 4th-and-3 check down to Javonte Williams after missing a wide-open Jake Ferguson, by the way, because Jake Ferguson was wide open. All right? You missed him. I'm just looking at this, and I'm just saying, my God. Can Dallas really, really make a run? That's really, really the question mark right here. Dak Prescott, 36-9 against NFC East opponents. 10-5 versus the Philadelphia Eagles in his career. 47-1 against everybody else. That's Dak Prescott's resume. 500 against everybody else outside of the NFC East. Right now we're looking at the playoff picture. Dallas Cowboys are 8th. There's 7 teams that gets into the playoffs. Dallas Cowboys are 10th, Detroit Lions are 8th. Dallas Cowboys are a game and a half back. Rest of their remaining schedule. Home against the Chiefs on Thanksgiving. Then they go on the road at Detroit. Then they play the Vikings at home. Then they play the Chargers at home. And then they end the last 2 games of the season on the road against Washington and against the New York Giants. I don't see them beating the Chiefs on Thanksgiving. But here's the thing. I see Dallas beating everybody else. They beat everybody else. That's a 10-6-1 record. Can that get you in the playoffs? In a crowded NFC East? That's the real question mark right here. Winning one of the next 2 games against the Chiefs and the Lions, I think they could do. Winning the final 4 games of the season, don't get me started with J.J. McCarthy in Minnesota. That's a victory. The Commanders, that's a victory. The Giants, they can make it interesting because they have nothing to lose on the last game of the season, but that should still be a victory. And then, of course, you got the Chargers, which will be a tough one, but the Cowboys can beat them. And congrats to Dak Prescott, 34,378 passing yards. Passing Tony Romo for the most passing yards in Dallas Cowboys franchise history. Neither of them ever went to an NFC championship game. So we ain't comparing them to Roger Staubach. We ain't comparing them to Troy Aikman. All right? But you want to sit up there and give him props for surpassing Tony Romo and them accumulating their yardage but not doing much come playoff time? Have at it. That's the Dallas Cowboys story right now. They got to go 5-1 the rest of the way. Can they do it? That remains to be the question. I think they can. I really, really do. I think they do. I think they can. But I don't see them winning. You know, you get Chiefs and the Lions. I don't see them winning both games. I really, really don't. That I cannot see. I'm sorry. I'm not there. I'm just not there. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Dak Prescott talked about how badly this game was needed. Let's hear from the star quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys because he is playing like a star right now.
That game was needed, and no, never blinked, never had any doubt, and 1,000% believed from the beginning. I mean, there was times, right? I'm telling guys, believe, and then there was a moment there in the fourth quarter where a book goes, believe, and I go, I know, we're done with.
Cowboys Nation, lean in and listen closely, because what we witnessed on Sunday night wasn't just a win, it wasn't just a comeback, it wasn't just survival. What we saw was the Dallas Cowboys finally showing the NFL who they are capable of being when the pieces fall into place, when the stars align, and when the heart of this team shows up in full force. And tonight there is no bigger story, no bigger symbol of this shift than the rise of a man who has transformed this defense the moment he put that star on his helmet, Quinnen Williams. This is Cowboys Nation Report, and today we're breaking down exactly why this latest victory not only keeps the Cowboys alive in the playoff race, but sends a message to the entire NFL. And it all starts with number 95 blowing up everything in front of him. Dallas didn't just beat Philadelphia. Dallas ripped the game out of their hands after falling behind 21-0. They took a game that looked over by halftime and turned it into a statement victory. But while Dak Prescott delivered the leadership and George Pickens delivered the explosiveness, the heartbeat of the turnaround came from the defensive front, specifically from the man the Cowboys stole at the trade deadline from the New York Jets. Quinnen Williams has been in Dallas for 5 minutes, and he already looks like the anchor this defense has been dreaming about for years. And if you think that's an exaggeration, look at the numbers. According to Next Gen Stats, Williams just posted a career-best 8 pressures on 30 pass rush snaps. That's dominance. That's disruption. That's a player taking over a divisional rivalry game the moment it mattered most. But then the scare came. Midway through the second half, with the Cowboys' defense surging and the Eagles desperately trying to stabilize their offense, Saquon Barkley hit Williams directly in the ribs during a pass block. Williams went down, grabbed his side, and suddenly every Cowboys fan watching the broadcast felt their hearts stop. Because as much as we talk about Dak, about Pickens, about Lamb, about the edge rushers, this defense has looked completely different since Williams arrived. Losing him, even for a week, would have been catastrophic heading into a brutal Thanksgiving showdown against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. But Cowboys Nation, take a breath. Quinnen Williams spoke after the game, and his message was clear. He is playing on Thursday. Saquon got me, Williams said. My ribs are kind of banged up. I'm going to do some treatment, rehab, and get ready for Thursday. That's not the voice of a man debating whether he'll play. That's the voice of a warrior. That's the voice of someone who understands exactly what's at stake for this team. And for the first time in a long time, the Cowboys have a defensive tackle who doesn't just plug gaps, he changes games. This is what the Dallas front office envisioned when they surrendered serious capital at the trade deadline. They weren't adding a role player. They weren't adding a patch. They were adding a tone setter, a difference maker, a force multiplier. And through his first 2 games as a Cowboy, Williams has delivered exactly that. 5 tackles total, constant pressure, constant disruption, a ripple effect that is empowering every other defender around him. Look at how the game changed after halftime. Philadelphia's offense went from explosive to flat. They went from march down the field confidence to panic mode. Jalen Hurts went from comfortable to uncomfortable, and the rhythm the Eagles had early evaporated. That doesn't happen unless the Dallas defensive front is winning, and for the first time in 2 seasons, the Cowboys have a true difference maker inside the trenches. Just think about the timing. Overshone is back, Revel is back, Hooker is healthier, Logan Wilson is filling gaps, Osa Odighizuwa finally has help, Kenny Clark is back in his natural role instead of being forced to do everything. Suddenly, the Cowboys' defense doesn't look overwhelmed. Suddenly, quarterbacks don't look relaxed. Suddenly, this unit, which was gashed repeatedly earlier in the season, has a pulse, and the engine of that pulse is Quinnen Williams. This is not the same Cowboys defense that got embarrassed in Week 1. This is not the defense that got bullied by Carolina. This is not the defense that fell apart in Chicago. This is a unit that looks faster, stronger, and more decisive. It's the first Cowboys defense in months that looks like it believes it can win. And it couldn't have come at a better time. On Thanksgiving Day, Patrick Mahomes walks into AT&T Stadium. The Chiefs may not look like the same Kansas City juggernaut of old, but when the lights turn on, Mahomes remains the most dangerous quarterback in football. The Cowboys cannot afford to play bend but don't break football. They cannot afford to wait until halftime to wake up. They need pressure from the opening snap. They need physicality. They need disruption. And now, thanks to Quinnen Williams being healthy enough to play through pain, they'll have it. This Thursday is one of the most important games of the season, not because it decides anything, but because it reveals everything. It tells us whether the Cowboys are truly turning a corner or whether last week was just a spark in the dark. It tells us whether the defense has genuinely evolved or just had a great night against a divisional rival. It tells us whether the Cowboys remain playoff long shots or suddenly become a problem in the NFC. And if Dallas wins, the entire NFL conversation shifts. The Cowboys go from 10% playoff odds to the doorstep of resurgence. They go from inconsistent to dangerous. They go from surviving to believing. But here's the part that matters, the part that truly defines this moment. Quinnen Williams didn't come to Dallas just to be another player. He came to be the turning point of a season that was slipping away. He came to be the heartbeat of a defense searching for its identity. And after everything he showed on Sunday, after everything he fought through, after taking a shot to the ribs and refusing to even consider sitting out, it is clear he has embraced this role. This team is fighting. Dak is playing the best football of his career. George Pickens looks unstoppable. Aubrey stays perfect under pressure. And now, for the first time all year, the defense is giving Dallas a chance in every single game. Cowboys fans, the season is not over. The door is not closed. The story is not finished. With Quinnen Williams healthy enough to play, with the defense finding its rhythm, and with Dak Prescott refusing to blink in the biggest moments, Dallas steps into Thanksgiving with belief, momentum, and a real chance to shock the league again. Cowboys Nation, stay loud, stay proud, and keep believing. And now I want to hear from you. Should Quinnen Williams already be considered the most important mid-season acquisition in the NFL? Did this win change how you see the Cowboys' playoff chances? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe to Cowboys Nation Report for daily coverage as we fight through every snap of this playoff push. Let's ride into Thanksgiving together and show the world that the Dallas Cowboys are not done, not even close.